The world is a strange and mysterious place, full of shadows and whispers. For centuries, tales have been spun around campfires, stories of creatures that defy explanation, lurking in the darkest corners of our planet. And nowhere are these tales more ingrained than in the vast, ancient mountain range of Appalachia. Subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell for more cryptid stories from the heart of Appalachia. The Appalachian Mountains are alive, not just with the rustling of leaves and the chirping of crickets, but with something more, something ancient and unknowable. For generations, the people who call these mountains home have whispered about creatures that defy explanation. The mountains themselves seem to hold their breath, guarding their secrets closely. The hills of West Virginia hold many stories, but few are as chilling as the legend of the Mothman. Our story begins in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, in the fall of 1966. On a cool November evening, two young couples were driving along a desolate stretch of road known as the TNT area. As they rounded a bend, their headlights caught a large, dark figure with glowing red eyes. Panic gripped them as they realized this was no ordinary creature. The couple slammed their foot on the gas, desperate to escape, but the creature gave chase, rising into the air with massive wings. They described it as having a wingspan of at least 10 feet, its body dark and man-shaped, with piercing red eyes. This was the Mothman. Word of the encounter spread through Point Pleasant like wildfire. At first there was disbelief, but then more sightings began to pour in. People from all walks of life reported seeing the same terrifying creature. Fear gripped the town of Point Pleasant. The creature, dubbed the Mothman, had cast a pall over the entire community. The sightings continued for weeks, each more terrifying than the last. The legend of the Mothman wasn't just a story anymore. It was a living nightmare. As the Mothman cast its shadow over West Virginia, another tale of terror unfolded in Flatwoods. In the fall of 1952, a group of young boys had an encounter with what would become known as the Flatwoods Monster. On a crisp September evening, they noticed a bright light streak across the sky. Curiosity got the better of them, and they decided to investigate. As they approached the crest of a hill, they came face to face with a sight that would forever be seared into their memories. There, bathed in an eerie, pulsating light, stood a creature unlike anything they had ever seen before. It towered over them, at least 10 feet tall, its body encased in a metallic suit. Its head was grotesquely misshapen, with glowing red eyes. The boys stood frozen in terror, then turned and fled, scrambling down the hill as fast as their legs could carry them. The boys, shaken and terrified, raced back to their homes, the image of the creature seared into their minds. At first, the adults dismissed their tale as a child's overactive imagination, but the boys were insistent. They knew what they had seen. The next day, townspeople found strange circular tracks and a pungent sulfurous odor at the site. Word of the Flatwoods Monster spread quickly, but the creature had vanished, leaving behind only questions and unease. The stories of the Mothman and the Flatwoods Monster are just two of countless encounters with the unexplained in the Appalachian Mountains. For generations, people have whispered about strange creatures lurking in the shadows. Hunters and hikers tell of being stalked through the woods by something they couldn't see. In remote mountain towns, people talk of these creatures in hushed tones, knowing the mountains hold secrets best left undisturbed. One particular region of the Appalachians seems to be a hotbed of paranormal activity. Known as the Bridgewater Triangle, this area of southeastern Massachusetts shares a similar folklore-rich history and rugged terrain. Stories of UFO sightings, giant snakes, and thunderbirds have plagued this area for decades. One chilling tale involves a young couple driving along a deserted road late at night. Their headlights illuminated a large, dark figure standing in the middle of the road, which let out a terrifying roar before disappearing into the woods. The cryptids of the Appalachian Mountains are more than just creatures of myth and legend. They are a testament to the power of storytelling, the human need to believe in something beyond the ordinary. Whether real or figments of our imagination, these creatures continue to fascinate and terrify us. Their stories remind us that there are still wild, untamed places in this world, where the veil between our world and the unknown is thin. Deep in the heart of the Cherokee National Forest, whispers travel on the wind. They speak of a creature, a feline phantom that haunts the hollows and strikes fear into the hearts of those who dare to venture into its domain. This is the Wampus cat, a creature of Native American lore. Imagine a crisp autumn evening in the Smokies. Suddenly, you hear a blood-curdling scream, high-pitched and filled with an unearthly rage. The Wampus cat is often described as a large, cougar-like creature, but with an added layer of terror. Hunters speak of a creature with glowing eyes that stalk them through the woods, its footsteps silent and deadly. While the Wampus cat prowls the southern Appalachians, another even more terrifying creature is said to haunt the forests further north. This is the sheep squatch, a cryptid that has captivated the imaginations of locals and outsiders alike. Picture yourself driving along a lonely stretch of highway through the Appalachian Mountains. Suddenly, you see something large and hairy dart across the road. It's tall, at least 8 feet tall, and covered in thick, matted hair that resembles dirty wool. Reports of the sheep squatch date back to the 1970s, with sightings clustered around Boone and Summers counties in West Virginia. The Wampus cat and the sheep squatch, though separated by geography and physical appearance, share a common thread. They are both creatures of the unknown, shrouded in mystery and fueled by generations of folklore and eyewitness accounts. Their stories are woven into the fabric of Appalachian culture, a testament to the power of belief and the enduring allure of the unexplained. These cryptids, along with countless others that haunt the hollows and peaks of the Appalachians, serve as a reminder that there are still wild, untamed places in this world. Places where the lines between reality and myth are blurred, and where the unknown beckons us to explore its depths. Are these creatures real? Are they flesh and blood entities that roam the forests? Or are they something more, something supernatural, something beyond our comprehension? The answer, like the creatures themselves, remains elusive, hidden in the mists and shadows of the Appalachian Mountains. But as long as there are people willing to listen to the whispers on the wind, as long as there are those who dare to venture into the unknown, the legends of these cryptids will endure, captivating our imaginations and reminding us that some mysteries are best left unsolved. The stories of cryptids, like those of the Wampus cat and the sheep squatch, are more than just scary tales told around a campfire. They are a reflection of our deepest fears, our fascination with the unknown, and our desire to believe that there is still magic and mystery left in the world. These creatures, whether real or imagined, serve as a reminder that there are forces beyond our control, forces that we may never fully understand. In a world that is increasingly dominated by technology and reason, cryptids offer us a glimpse into a realm where anything is possible. They remind us that there are still wild, untamed places in this world, places where the veil between our world and the unknown is thin. Whether we choose to believe in them or not, the stories of these creatures will continue to fascinate and terrify us, ensuring that the legends of the Appalachian cryptids will live on for generations to come. The world of cryptids is a captivating clash between belief and skepticism. Believers are fueled by eyewitness accounts and grainy photos. Scientists demand concrete evidence and verifiable data. Dr. Jeff Meldrum studies footprint evidence for creatures like Bigfoot. His research focuses on footprint analysis, especially in the Pacific Northwest. Skeptic Benjamin Radford urges caution, emphasizing the need for physical evidence. Without DNA or clear photos, cryptids remain folklore, not scientific fact. The debate over the existence of cryptids often hinges on the interpretation of evidence, or lack thereof. Take, for example, the legend of the Mothman. Some researchers believe the sightings in Point Pleasant could be linked to the presence of a large misidentified sandhill crane. These birds, known for their size and red markings around their eyes, could be mistaken for something more sinister, especially in the fading light or under duress. Similarly, sightings of the Wampus cat, often described as a giant feline predator with glowing eyes, could be attributed to mountain lions, bobcats, or even feral cats suffering from a condition known as gigantism. These explanations, while grounded in reality, do little to satisfy those who believe they've encountered something truly extraordinary. Dr. Grover Krantz, a prominent anthropologist who dedicated much of his career to the study of Bigfoot, once said, "The most important thing is to keep an open mind, but not so open that your brains fall out." This sentiment perfectly encapsulates the challenge of cryptid research, balancing healthy skepticism with a willingness to consider possibilities outside the realm of conventional science. The search for cryptids is often a frustrating exercise in ambiguity. Footprints disappear into the undergrowth. Blurry photos yield no conclusive answers. Eyewitness accounts, while compelling, are often contradictory or lack the detail needed for scientific analysis. Some researchers point to the lack of physical evidence as proof that these creatures don't exist. They argue that in a world saturated with cameras and smartphones, it's statistically improbable that we haven't captured clearer images or videos of these elusive beings. However, believers counter that the very nature of these creatures, often described as being nocturnal, reclusive, and possibly even possessing supernatural abilities, makes them adept at avoiding detection. They argue that the dense forests, rugged terrain, and often unforgiving weather conditions of the Appalachian Mountains provide ample cover for creatures seeking to avoid human contact. The debate over the existence of cryptids is likely to continue for generations to come. Without definitive proof, the question of whether these creatures are real or simply products of our collective imagination remains tantalizingly unanswered. The appeal of cryptids lies not just in the possibility of undiscovered creatures, but also in the human fascination with the unknown. These stories, passed down through generations, tap into a primal fear of the wilderness, a reminder that there are still forces in this world beyond our control. Whether you're a seasoned researcher or simply someone who enjoys a good campfire story, the cryptids of the Appalachian Mountains offer a glimpse into a world where anything is possible. They challenge our understanding of the natural world, ignite our imaginations, and remind us that even in the 21st century, there are still mysteries waiting to be unraveled. The lack of conclusive evidence doesn't negate the experiences of those who claim to have encountered these creatures. Their stories, often told with a mix of fear and awe, serve as a reminder that there are still wild, untamed places in this world, places where the veil between reality and myth is thin. And sometimes that's what makes the search for cryptids so compelling. It's not just about finding a creature, it's about rediscovering a sense of wonder, a belief that there are still mysteries left to explore, even in a world that often feels increasingly knowable. The cryptids of the Appalachian Mountains are more than just monsters in the shadows. They become woven into the fabric of the region, their stories as much a part of the landscape as the mountains themselves. For generations, these tales have served as a cautionary warning about the dangers of the wild. In many Appalachian communities, these creatures aren't seen as monstrous threats, but rather as guardians of the land. The Cherokee believe in the Uktina, a giant serpent that protects the mountains. This belief reflects a deep respect for the natural world and the creatures that share it with us. Cryptids of the Appalachian Mountains have stepped into the spotlight. Documentaries and podcasts fuel a growing fascination, drawing tourists eager to glimpse these elusive creatures. Point Pleasant, West Virginia, embraces its Mothman legend. The annual Mothman Festival attracts thousands celebrating the legend. Local businesses thrive on Mothman-themed merchandise. Cryptid tourism boosts local economies but raises environmental concerns. The influx of visitors could disrupt delicate ecosystems. Balancing curiosity and preservation is crucial. We've journeyed deep into the heart of Appalachia, scaled its misty peaks, and ventured into its shadowy hollers. We've confronted the stories, the eyewitness accounts, the grainy photos, and the tantalizing footprints that vanish into the undergrowth. But the question remains, are the cryptids of the Appalachian Mountains real? Or are they, as some believe, something more, something stranger, something that defies our very understanding of the natural world. Perhaps the true power of these creatures lies in their ability to ignite our imaginations. The cryptids of the Appalachian Mountains stand as a testament to the enduring power of mystery. In a world defined by what we know, there is still a place for the unknown. Listen closely. You might hear the distant howl of a wampus cat or the heavy footsteps of a sheep squatch. And if you're lucky, you might catch a glimpse of something you can't explain. Once you've looked into the eyes of a cryptid, you'll never look at the world the same way again. Will you heed the call? The cryptids of Appalachia are waiting,